involves, in order to read this book, you have to not display that so in the book, like it said so. So anyways, I'm going to be reading this book of stories. And let's get this story started. So it started out as a guy in the forest. He was quite sad. And so let's start up the backstory. In 3, 2, 1. Backstory started. As in the backstory, he was walking in this lonely woods. He said, "Ah, what a nice day. I wonder when I'll find a town." And he kept walking and walking until there was one part. Somebody wants to read the story with me. This guy wants to read the story with me. And let's say hi to him.
Hello?
Hello.
You're recording?
Yes.
You are Shumarat.
Yeah. Anyways.
Spend tons of time editing you.
Oh. Anyways, while I was reading the story, he kept walking in waters and waters. It kept walking until he found a town. He said, "Oh, cool! It's a town." As we kept putting on the backstory, he found an egg. He thought he shouldn't even pick it up. It looked very dangerous. So he kept walking to the village. This village will help me do stuff. He'll probably help me through my progress to get to this town. TNT. They must be stocking up to fight the power. For someone I don't know. And then he kept walking and walking. 5 hours later. It was such a he said, "Oh, it was such a great town. I wonder what's in here." He found a sign that said, "Place torch here." So he did that. Oh, and he heard a hissing, and he ran outside. Because after all, those protection sequences were destroying the town. He ran and ran and ran and ran and ran and ran. I think I read that word wrong. And there were things attacking. We have no idea what. So he grabbed his emergency minecart and went on the Mechological Evans host. And he ran. And he missed the minecart, so he had to run. He said, "I gotta run, stupid minecart." And so he kept running and running and running and running and running until he found his adventure point, the space station. And then on the way, things kept attacking him and attacking him and attacking him more. He got out his gun to fight back, but he had no courage inside of him because he's a chicken. And so he tried to find certain stuff, and then he found his gun, and he shot, and he died. But he came back alive somehow in the middle of nowhere. So he tried to find his way back, and it turns out he actually just teleported. So it's a really dangerous story so far, guys. He ran and ran. And Tiny here, or Awesome1362 here, is reading the story with us, right?
No, I'm just making sound effects.
Okay. So he kept walking and walking. And then on the way he saw Rail. He found his way. He found his way. I don't know why I'm holding this controller in my hand. But it turns out he walked up the stairs. And then he found the railroad. And he was too much of a chicken to fight back, so he ran more past everything. What? Anyways.
I can make a chicken noise every time I say chicken.
Yes, he was a chicken after all. And he found broken track. It turns out he broke it. He tried. He kept breaking it until it opened. What was else in the story? So he walked to the space station. On his way, he found solar panels with a monster and another monster. He was really, really scared. There were two monsters. One was a huge spider and a small spider. So he kept pressing R2 over and over again until something at least dies. Like that. Then, it turns out, he brought out his fireballs. And so he managed to reach the monster. The monster said, "Roar." He went close to it, and something shot fire at him. And it was really dangerous, until he saw vitals. So, he went on its back. And then, he destroyed its vitals with his firepower. And then he watched it die. Bop, wap, wah. And all that was left of it was its eye. So he broke the eye. And he was like, no, I'm not taking this. But I'm taking it anyway. So he was walking. That's all he did for the next 1 minute. Anyways, back to the backstory. Something set on fire. Then he jumped. Now to find his way, he had to set fires. Ah! And he said ah. He found something weird down there. He thought something dangerous was gonna happen. There was a creature down there guarding, so he had to take it out. He missed because he's really bad at shooting. He missed again. He missed again, but then he decided to quit. Because he's such a bad shooter. I mean, like, what the heck, man? He is so bad at shooting. And I don't know why me, the narrator, is being so mean to the main character. So he walked in. And stand here for 3 SEC. And as he went under, an alarm went off. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. He ran outside. He ran outside and kept running. And I don't know why I keep saying that. That is awfully stupid. Then he needed more light. He was like, this needs to be over. I don't want to handle this. So he committed suicide, but God kept bringing him back to life just to make him mad. Which is like super funny. There's like a bunch of stuff in his hand. So he kept setting fires, but then he found a lava pit. But he wasn't super stupid, at least. So he kept walking, and setting fires to find his way. But then something attacked him. So he ran whichever way he wanted to go. So he stopped right there. Then in the morning, when morning came, he found the rocket, and he found some 2 evil enemies that was dwelled in his past. Ah! And he said, ah! And so he ran and ran. He decided he wasn't such a chicken anymore. So he decided to shoot upwards. He shot the spider with his medieval gun. That's not such medieval after all. So he tried to sneak up on these weird creatures that tried to kill him. But it dodged. And it opened its mouth wide. And they found the teleportation spot that I was in. He was in. So he kept shooting. He hit it. And then he was like, I should stop hitting things and actually think for once. So he at least hit that one. Then he decided, I don't need to shoot very much. It's just wasting ammo. So he had to run past them really quickly. Then all of a sudden, he jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped and jumped. And then he attacked, but he missed. But something was coming after him. So he was like, what? He was like all angry and stuff. He keeps finding his way back, but he remembered he has these weird red blocks. So he jumped. So maybe he thought, maybe this red block could work with this Spyro because they let in weird alien creatures because I'm not such an alien creature. But it turns out I am an alien creature. But then he just ran up. He ran up and jumped and jumped. Then he hit, he smacked till he gave up. And then he was like, okay, I need to stop smacking and actually get through this. So he hit that one. Really, and really high jumped. Woo. So he made his way out so he could get in without all the wee-woos around. And then he heard something really dangerous. So he snuck around corners so nothing would see him. He kept walking in circles and circles. Then he was like, screw, I'm just gonna go up this ladder. He went up the ladder. And he was like, wait, I found something. He jumped down. Then he shot up in the air because he's weird. Then he looked up in the air. What are those? So he was like, I'm just gonna walk up there and see what those are. Let's go see what those are. He walked upstairs. But too bad he couldn't really find anything up here. So he was like, maybe. He couldn't think anything after all. So he was like, what the heck is that? It turns out it was some sort of weird crafty thingy. He heard something come up. And the narrator stopped talking for a bit. The main character tried to find where that sound was coming from. He looked over there. And he found false alarm. He went over here. He was like, what is this? He grabbed out his weapon. Okay. So he grabbed out his weapon. He accidentally set fire to something. he was like, how could I get out? So he kept running through the hallways. And then Awesome said hello. So the main character started running again. Then he jumped up and went upstairs before everything set on fire. He was like, no, I don't want to go back down there. So he didn't go back down there. He thought, what were these weird things? And it turns out it was something. And the fire kept running towards him like it was his main enemy. So he kept running through hallways until he found a door.
Hercules is home.
Okay. And anyways, he went through the door. He found something really weird. He found this. He was like, what is this? What happened next? He heard a weird, very weird sound. I dropped the book. And so he walked through the door. Okay. And so he found another door. So he was like, oh, I'm so scared. He was like, oh. But he was really stupid, so he went back because he thought he was a hero, which he is really not. So he thought he could one-handedly not start the fire. But then he got trapped down again, so he had to run for his life again. But then really something scary happened. Something really scary. Another fire set off. Plenty more fires set off. He was like, okay, screw. I'm not going back there. It was really, 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 really scary. But it turns out he was the real chicken. So he thought, I had to get through this alive. So he ran towards that random chest up there. He was like, there's nothing in there. So he ran up this way. He found that door again. But he was like, wait, this way shouldn't be the right way. So he went that way anyways. And then he was really stupid and tried to jump out the window because he wanted to end it all. But then he said, no, I must live. So he went back running up. He kept running again until he got trapped again. So he was like, I got extra blocks. I can survive this. I'm a pro. Even he really was not a pro. He walked through the door and he was like, I think I should go to that thing where I found. So he kept walking to the area where he found something. And he was like, what is this? He managed to go down. But he was a bit afraid because that was there. And there were enemies surrounding, guards surrounding this weird, oddly looking portal. So he was like, I'm going to fight you, and I'm going to fight you with transportation. But it turns out he just set himself in his own trap. But he managed to keep fighting until he lost everything. He was really scared, so he was like, okay, I'm going through this portal, and you're not going to stop me. And then again, he found this. He was like, I need to kill it. Hello, Possessor! And he was like, what's up, Possessor? Because that's what he said. So we were going to fast forward the story. And it turns out he was able to fly. So he went back in. And he was like, no, I'm cheating in my own story. So he was like, I'm going back down. I'm going back down. I'm going back down. I'm going back down. And he was like, I'm trapped again. Kraz. So then this weird skeleton walked right through the fire. So he was like, I gotta go through the portal! I gotta go through the portal, he said. He went through the portal, but he was a bit scared about that super fast spider. That spider. Everything was super fast. And it was really a scary experience for him. Because he was really scared. And then that Blaze got angry and decided to kill him. But he was really angry because after all, he was immortal. But then he somehow got to heaven and he survived. That's how the story ended. It's really scary story. It's a really sad story. After all that he went through. Anyways, thank you for reading the story with me. Guys, I will see you in another story someday.